All right, mic check, I'm good. So I'm Max Duran, CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Welcome to another edition of the CWB Association Welding Podcast. My name is Daniela Torelli, and I am here with Kevin Waugh.
Yeah.
I did that right. And we are here recording in Moncton at the CanWeld Conference. As you can tell, I'm not normally in this seat. I'm normally the one behind the computer and the cameras. And any of our guests that we've had on the podcast, you've seen my name and emails. I'm kind of the scheduling one. But we had an idea, and we were like, hey, you know what? Max has done a lot of talking today, and we have recorded some episodes. Max has recorded some episodes while we're here with some amazing guests, but he's done a lot of talking, and today is day 2 of the conference. It's the last day, and we thought, you know what? Let's put a little spin on for our guests, and we are podcast takeover.
Yeah, exactly.
We were like, let's just create a new name for the podcast. I think we're going to call this the late night session, even though it's like afternoon. It's not lunchtime yet, but
but it gets a little crazy.
Yeah, no one needs to know that. So this is the new segment of late night talks with Daniela. So take one, not actually, but I like stepping out of my comfort zone. I think it's great for everyone to kind of push their limits. And for anyone that knows me personally, I am a chatterbox. I like talking. I am a rambler. I'm Italian. We like to talk, but to people I know.
Yeah.
And when I'm put into a new setting and being, even though there's nobody watching us right now,
yeah,
it's nerve-wracking. We have to do a few takes to kind of start off and, do our spirit fingers and get into the move here and the groove. But it's nerve-wracking being in the seat.
Oh, it's very, very nerve-wracking. You could be talking to anyone, like just me and you talking. Everything's cool. And then you set up a camera and a camera and a camera, and there's a mic in your face. It gets a little weird.
Yeah. So, but I'm like, you know what? This is something I personally want to work on.
Yeah.
Is kind of putting myself out there and to grow, because we really, as individuals, we like to be in our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And unless there's an opportunity to kind of step out of that, we like to just stay in our lane.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Like one of the reasons, one of the reasons why I'm here at CanWeld is because I had an opportunity to do something different, push my boundaries a little bit. So I completely understand what you're saying.
We're here for each other.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So
it's a team.
Team effort. We really believe in that. And the association, our memberships, and this is actually wraps into the theme of the conference, of the CanWeld Conference this year. And our theme throughout the year is joining communities through welding. We are all a community. Our association, our chapters, our memberships, the welding community as a whole, we're all here for each other, right?
Yeah.
So we're our support system. So
Yep.
I feel it here. I feel it here today. So this is why I'm in this spot. We were like, Max, take a breather, go relax for a bit.
Yeah,
and
the guy never stops talking.
He's good at it. He loves it. And we value him, and I value him as a boss as well. So can't talk any smack on here.
No, you got to take a few digs at the boss here and there.
I feel like I am like in the control panel here, and I have access to everything, and I'm just like, I've got all these cool buttons, I'm just gonna like, I get to
see, I can't hear that.
I get to do all these cool like little pun things. So yeah, it's different being in this spot, but I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's different.
It's different. So we are going to talk a lot about CanWeld, because that's where we are. And Kevin here is a first timer.
Yeah, first time at CanWeld. I really didn't know what to expect, but I saw the opportunity to come out here because I heard a lot of great things through the association, and the CanWelds, the FabTechs, all these like great conferences, but never experienced it. So as part of me coming out here, I kind of committed to doing a little bit of social media stuff where I'm doing like kind of a mini podcast, interviewing people as soon as they come out of the sessions, kind of walking around and taking a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. And so I also was able to present with Max in the opening in French. So that was intimidating, but at the same time, like super rewarding. Like we're pushing boundaries.
And, obviously, shout out to your social media channel. Was it Kevin R306?
At Kevin R306.
If you don't follow him, it's mandatory right now. Stop listening, pause it for a second, go follow him, and then resume this episode.
Yeah, just to let you know, I focus on welding. I'm not just the guy that shares the pretty weld. I like helping people. I like showing the process. That's what this community is about. It's just, I focus on welding, and like, feel free to message me anytime. It's the community vibe.
Yeah. And, you'll also see your face on our CWB group, YouTube channel. We've done quite a few welding videos, instructional videos on our channel that Kevin does, for us. And they're really great. What was the sessions called? Like
it's efficient and proficient.
That's what it was.
Me, Kevin,
the slogan. Yeah. It was a good title.
That's a thing that I stuck with. It's like, that's what employers want from you. You probably want that from yourself. Like you don't want to bang your head up against the wall every time you're welding. So how can I be efficient? Well, you have to be proficient. You have to know your trade. You have to know your tools.
It was catchy. It was catchy. Yeah.
Boom. Just like that.
And that was kind of when, was it a year ago we started that?
Well, the first round was like 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Which was another, let's push some boundaries. Like, I had never done that before. Yeah, I can show a guy in the shop how to do it. Now there's some cameras. Yeah. Now there's recording, and it's crazy. But 2 years ago, I think was the first round. Yeah, that was probably
the first time we met each other personally. Yeah. And I have to say, on a personal level, you follow people on social media, you never know how they're actually going to be in person.
Yeah.
And I have to say, you are as humble as can be in person as you are on social media. So
well, that's one thing I'll touch on, is that some people on social media are characters of themselves. Like they play a part on there. Right. So it's kind of like acting, and you meet them face to face, and it's like, it's a dud. Like I thought I liked you, but no, we don't vibe at all. So I'm myself on the page. It's you, when you're talking to me, you're talking to me, not my alter ego.
Just be kind. We talk about it so many times in different episodes and on the floor and shop floors, and the welding community is so large, but it's so small. We're a tight-knit group, and everybody knows everybody. And, it's sometimes we don't have to agree, on a personal level or whatever it may be, but I'm still going to be respectful. I'm still going to be like, you know what, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't need to agree. I'm not going to argue on it. That's fine. But the community, it's very small, tight-knit group. And I really appreciate, even, and all the people that I've met, that I've followed on Instagram. And when I get to all these like FabTech and the CanWeld conferences, and you meet people, and it's just like, it's so cool to see people that you've followed for years, and they're inspiring to you in your career. And then you meet them in person, and you're just like, it's chills. Yeah. It's really chills when they're like the same person. It's like, I was watching you on a screen yesterday, and now I'm here in person with you, and it's the same person.
Another big reason to come out to CanWeld. And I wasn't expecting that for some weird reason. Like, okay, I show up here, and I'm spotting faces in the crowd. Like, hey, I know that person. And even like people that, weren't registered, but knew it was happening, popped down to the hotel lobby. Yeah. And like Kendall Keating, he just walking through the lobby, and he's like, why do I know him? And he's like, Kevin, Kendall? Hey, hi, man. How's it going?
Yeah.
It's like, I kind of thought you'd be here. And then it was like instantly, like, we're best friends, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because we've talked to each other for so long, but then you meet each other, and it's like, hey, man. Like,
you almost forget that you haven't met in person.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I forget that all the time, even, from a virtual standpoint with work. And it's like, you have these conversations with people on a virtual platform, and you forget when you do meet them in person. You're like, oh, yeah, we've actually... This is our first time meeting. Feels like I've known you for years, but it's our first time meeting. It's
super cool. It takes a lot of the nerves and a lot of the pressure out of things, because there's no there's no catch up. It's just, we're just picking up from where we left off, where we're just here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I actually had an experience in FabTech in Chicago just recently in September. And there was a young girl that when I first started my social media, you know, my welding career 8 years ago, I think I got on social media maybe 6 years ago, you know, and one of the very first female welders I followed. And at the time we bonded over that we both had Ranger Ford pickup trucks, and she was obsessed with pink, and she was a, you know, female welder, and I just happened to come across her on Instagram, and I don't want to butcher her name, so I'm not going to say it right now, but you know who you are. And finally, you know, over those 6 years of just being supportive on Instagram, and finally got to meet her in person at FabTech, and it was just like, oh my God, like it warmed my heart so much, because it was like, you know, we didn't actually know each other, but we've supported each other in our careers, and
big time.
We've just, you know, even just liking as simple as liking a photo, you know, and being like, hey, a simple comment. Way to go. So proud of you. That's amazing. Like those simple moments, we remember them in our career, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether it's a stranger off the street or, you know, it's so cool to have those moments and to meet people in person.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, because it's one thing, and, you know, I know it's like one thing when you're holding a phone in front of your face and you're talking to yourself, but you're talking to, you know, thousands of people, millions, whatever, you know, around the world, but you don't see them. So you're just talking to yourself. Here at our CanWeld conference, you're talking to people from a phone, but they're sitting next to you, and you have a microphone in your hand.
Yeah. So
how's that? How is that, you know?
So part of me being here was, I mean, I kind of bullied my way in, but I agreed to.
He's on a trial right now.
Yeah, exactly. Trial period. The scene.
We'll see how he does.
We're not on the beta version yet. So I've been interviewing people, sitting them down and just kind of getting their opinions and a little bit of background on them. It's kind of difficult, to be honest. I don't want to say pulling teeth, because some people are very into it. Like, absolutely, we want to promote what you guys are doing. But some people, I'll be talking to them for 20 minutes.
It's intimidating.
We're like, really, we have good rapport. Hey, do you mind just sitting down with me for 5 minutes on camera and just kind of saying,
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Say what we just said, but on no thanks. Right. Try to stop people in the hallway. Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm doing some social media content for the CWB. I'm wondering if you could say a few words.
Your face isn't going to get plastered on other platforms. Don't worry.
Yeah. And then it's like, you know, they at first they don't know who I am, of course, right? They can read my badge, but see, it's backwards.
Oh, it's mine. Backwards. Oh, look at that.
Right. And they don't know my page, you know, like the Instagram fame that I have is on Instagram.
Yes,
you know, people see my face, right? But they don't know me. So kind of have to get in there, crack the nut, as Max says, and try to get them.
I've noticed, because I mean, you know, on your name badge, you have, you know, CWB on there.
I did, yeah.
And I've noticed, you know, while we're passing each other in the hallways here at the conference, that people see that on your name tag, and then they start that conversation with you, like, hey, I've never met you before. I don't recognize your face.
Yeah.
For some of the people, because we have, you know, different ages here. Some that may never go on social media or aren't familiar with social media platforms, so they don't know you. But it starts a conversation, right? That they see your name page. You got a fancy CW. Like, oh, what do you do for CWB? And you're like, well, let me tell you.
It's actually like, it's very fun being on staff, right? I've done many things for the CWB. You're gonna hang
this up in your room afterwards?
I might put it in a shadow box. So I'll make it fancy. No, you're absolutely right. And even at breakfast, at lunch, there's no seating assignment. So you go in there, you sit down with whoever's at the table. And it's great. And I'm glad you mentioned like the older crowd that does not have Instagram, social media, they don't care less. It's not something tangible. And then I sit down and I explain to them that it's a tool, it's a system, it's a community. And like, we're way closer together than we ever were. They don't realize that, but it's great.
I always tell people my grandfather, shout out Nono, he's in his late 80s, and if he can figure out Facebook, anybody can.
Yeah.
Like he lives for Facebook. He connects with everybody, back home in Italy, sharing photos, and even on that front, like it's a great tool.
Yeah.
But like if my grandfather, who literally would curse if he saw a phone on the dinner table now after dinner at meals at family dinners, he's on his phone scrolling. And I'm just like, remember the days when you used to like hate on us for being on our phones?
Don't
like,
show him TikTok. He'll never stop.
I've noticed my dad's on TikTok, and I'm like, wow, the tables have turned.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I have a little booth set up, a little mini podcast thing over here. And, I interviewed Jason Becker for a little bit, but afterwards we were sitting down, and the engineering students from the U of A came over, the CCRJ.
They cornered you?
Yeah, CCWJ, sorry. And they're I guess, Dr. Patricio Mendez, he's a character. He's a very, very smart man. Anyways, so
I wish I had his energy. I really I want a bottle of it.
Yeah, we were watching one of the videos that a student did, or a group of students did, like 8 years ago. He heard the sound from across the room. I know that sound. He came over, sat down. His students came over too. And, well, how'd you do that? So we were talking about social media, and he's like, oh, I don't know about that stuff. And all of his students were like, well, the students have a page. We should get the lab a page. And me and Jason are just like pumping the tires. Like, you have to put that video on there. Yeah. That's going to grow the eyes on you. That's going to grow the interest. This is what like youth are wanting to see out there. So social media is it's a beast. It's crazy.
Well, and it's great also for, any age range, but just that exposure. And it doesn't matter where you live, and it's to see, when you live in your own small communities, or the job you go to every day, your 9 to 5, whatever it may be, that's all you see. But there's so many different welding processes. There's so many different things you can do with welding, and like seeing these videos that companies and individuals post, and it's just like your brain like starts expanding, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know this was possible. Or how did they achieve that? How did they, that weld is so perfect, but how did they do that? And both, like there's so many cool things that we don't get to see like in front of us on a daily, but we get to look at it and view it on these social media platforms. And it's so exciting to see what's out there in the world. And even, I'm so thankful for my job that I get to travel to these conferences and, Fab Tech and our CanWelds. And because without that, I would have never really traveled outside of Ontario. Like I'd never really been many places, but now I'm exposed to all the technology and the companies that are worldwide that I would have never looked at. Right. If it wasn't for these social media platforms and being able to attend the actual conferences. Yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, somebody in a shop, they're doing like MIG welding 90% of the time. That's all they're staring at. And that's one of the things that got me to become a better welder was I got on Instagram. It's like, holy, look at these welds. Like, how are we doing that? And reaching out to people. So like, I wish more people would branch out, like in their own self. Don't branch out to me. Well, do, but like yourself. If you're bored of what you're doing at work and there's no opportunities to do anything else, like it doesn't mean you're stuck. Like get on there, start following people that are doing the crazy stuff. And who knows, like you could learn that process or that style too. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And like, one of the best things, you don't have to get the most expensive welding machine, go to your Princess Auto, Home Depot, whatever it may be near you, Amazon, Alibaba, whatever. But, that was one of the best things that I did in my career. It's been 6 years I got my welding machine and I still have it, even though I've advanced a prettier one and a bigger one. But I had this very basic $500, welding machine, but just being able to practice at home and things that I couldn't do at work. And I was able to try different techniques at home and to, help me in my career and just explore, really.
Absolutely, yeah.
Learn and exploring and finessing that, welding as a career and a craft, really. So that really, it's amazing, the exposure. And it, I really can't express, that it's so important to attend conferences, whatever it may be, whatever level it may be, or events or networking events. Our chapters that we have host so many networking events across Canada. And it's so important to have those opportunities and to attend them and to really value them. And it's, anytime we talk with students and it's like, get out there, like network. I wish I would have done that earlier on in my career.
Yeah. And I wish, like, right now it's the last 3 years with COVID really put people back. Like, it set us back too. It set my chapter, the Regina chapter, back quite a bit. Yeah. Attendance was dwindling and now students are back in school and they don't know who we are because we've had that break. Yeah. So now we're getting back into the schools, but we don't only have to get back into the schools to reach the students. We got to reach the instructors. Yeah.
The guidance counselors.
Exactly. Yeah. And it even starts before that, like high school. Like we got to find those youths that they want to work with their hands, and we are the association to help you get to where you want to go and even help you figure that out. So it's, I wish more people would reach out to us. Like, we want to grow our attendance. We want to support as many people as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, when I went to school 8 years ago, it's like I did a 1-year welding technique program, and I graduated, and it was like, walk out that door, and the door closed behind me. And it was like,
what now?
Like, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have somebody in my family that could help guide me, or, I just kind of was like, okay, like, I'm just going to try a bunch of and see what happens. Yeah. So, but I wish I had somebody, that, I wish I would have knew about the association, or I wish my school at the time would have told me about this community and these volunteers that I could connect with. And if I look back and if I would have participated in a chapter event, or if I would have reached out and known about it, my career would have been a lot different. It wouldn't have been as rocky, or as, I would have had some guidance, and even though, you can never change the past, and I'm thankful for it. Every, windy road led me to where I am here today, but I think about that sometimes, but I can take that knowledge now and tell that generation now, being like, listen, listen.
Oh, that's on camera now.
Listen. Yeah. We have talked about this. I'm Italian. I talk with my hands a lot. I don't even know I do it. Yeah. But it was something that was brought up this week that
a couple times.
A couple of times that I say, listen. Yeah. So, but listen, but seriously though, listen, because when I say listen, I mean it. Like, I have something to say. So, if you're in high school, if you're thinking about welding, reach out to your local chapter, just connect, attend one of the events or listed on our website under each chapter page, and, get involved, because it's a game changer. It really is. Yeah. So let's kind of rewind. We're going to go back to talking about the conference and, kind of that point of, being in person now and attending, because I've noticed you've attended some of the sessions. Yeah. Yeah. And we touched a little bit about the French speaking aspect of the conference, because you are bilingual.
I am bilingual. Français. Oui, je parle français. Je suis né à Sept-Îles, Québec. Fait que c'était très bien pour moi. C'est comme un petit défi pour moi de parler français. Je pratique plus mon français. Fait que c'était une fun experience. Now we're back in English, because I can see in your face what's he saying. He's throwing me under the bus.
I'm picking up some words. Yeah. Je m'appelle Daniela. Oui.
It was good. I shared the opening speech with Max. Perfect, and we're in New Brunswick, Moncton, New Brunswick, which is the only official bilingual province of Canada. So we wanted to recognize that, and I wanted to step up and help out. Yeah. So it was very rewarding for me, and it was kind of a challenge because I don't speak French every day. I don't practice French every day. I learned to speak English when I was 8. And then I learned to read and write my French like in high school.
Right.
So it was weird for me, but I'm glad that I still have something, still something in the tank.
And I regret not taking French more seriously in high school. You know, when I think it's like after grade 10, it's an elective. And I don't think I pursued it after that. But man, if I would have known what I know now.
But yeah, there was like, I couldn't believe how many people here speak French.
Yeah.
75% of the people that I was talking to,
taxi drivers, anything that we've been in, like everybody.
As soon as they pick up on some French, like, we're switching to French, right? Like it's a respect thing. Like we know who we are. And even at the conference, like presenters, attendees, suppliers, everyone here almost bilingual, but we're speaking French.
And it was important to us, you know, here at the CWB. I can't speak for the whole company, but I know it was important. That's why we did that, is that we had French presentations, French speakers, you know, translating the openings ceremony and, you know, offering that, because we're a bilingual province as well, but also Canada as a whole. And we, you know, we want to make sure we're an ally and that we're here for that. So it was great to see many faces that attended the French speaking session. So having that mix of conferences and sessions for our attendees was very important to us. So I'm glad that you were able to attend some. Anything specific that you've learned that in your sessions that you've attended?
Honestly, it's just opened my eyes. Like, again, I'm a journeyman welder. I'm used to just staring at the arc, fabrication and stuff. There are a lot of engineers here, a lot of technicians. Right. So seeing the science behind what I'm doing, how my shielding gas and the level of CO2 in the shielding gas can affect my penetration, my bead profile, how automation, the robots are stealing our jobs. Well, how automation, AI, laser cameras can actually not only improve your product, speed you up, but you have to hire people to like run these things. Yeah. You know, with doing my job, I wasn't able to drop in on a few, but I dropped in on a French one with Mathieu Roy, who's an instructor at the CCNB.
Are you guys related in any way?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's my cousin, 18 times removed.
I was like, oh my God, you have the same last name. Like,
no,
there's
like
gotta be
I think the statistic is that the Roy family is the third largest family in Quebec, and we're not just in Quebec. Yeah. No, and I loved hearing his presentation, because there's a disconnect now where the students are leaving school and they're not hands-on. They need a push. They need motivation. So he's built a program where you're taking welding. He's building inspectors also. But everything that he was saying is what I wanted to hear. New technology, training on that new technology, supporting the students. And when they leave with tickets. So they can go out there and get a job right away, and they help them do that. Yeah. I wish that more schools would like focus on these programs and help the kids all the way through.
And even the other programs, you know, the inspection side of it, supervisors, you know, side of it too, offering more and more knowledge and programs like that for the students so that they know the different opportunities available, right? So we've had many conversations with him, and we're really excited to do more here in New Brunswick and with him and the CCNB. So you know, he's such a great, and that's what you need those passionate people. Like he has so much passion, and you know, that came up in conversation of so many people that they got not lost in their job, but you get comfortable, right? Yeah. You get comfortable, you know, those instructors that have been at schools for many, many years, they, you know, it's your 9 to 5, you get comfortable.
Even they need support. They need support from industry. They need support from government. They need support from the local community. It's not like we're not just throwing them under the bus.
No, we need all of you. We do. Yeah. But it's really great to see when they have that passion, and it doesn't matter how many years you've taught for, it's keeping that passion. And because the students, you know, as soon as you have an instructor that is not passionate, and then those students don't get passionate, and then they'll do schooling, and then they change their career after that, or they maybe last a year in the welding industry, and then they just, you know, choose something else.
Another statistic I heard is that, let's say you have a class of 12, 4 of those people 5 years later will still be welders. The other ones moved on. So what's cool about this conference though is every single person here can't turn it off.
Yeah.
The passion is like so strong.
You feel it.
Yeah, it happens in the sessions. It happens at lunch. It happens at closing. And then we're hanging out together. We're at the bar, and it's still going. Like, people love welding.
Last night, everyone was like, listen. Oh my gosh.
It was like 2 a.m. out on the sidewalk, and we're still talking.
Go to bed.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow morning, last day of the conference, you got to pace yourself. You can't go hard first day, or, you got to pace yourself. Tonight, we're super excited. We have our VIP after party, sponsored by ApprenticeSearch.com. And, tonight's the night to really let loose and have fun. But it's true. We literally, it's not like we're standing out there and talking and, about whatever, how's the weather. We're talking about the industry. We're talking about welding. We're talking about pros and cons and how can we support each other. And we could have talked all night long. And it's it's the passion. You feel it.
It kind of like brings me to the NAC meeting. So this was my first NAC meeting. So that's the National Association, right? Correct?
Yeah. Advisory Council.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. See, can you tell it was my first? So it was kind of crazy to sit there and hear all the chapters that were present about the work they're doing, their successes, their downfalls, how they're supporting people, because we're kind of isolated as a chapter, but then you connect with all these people. Okay, you guys are doing a calendar, and that's bringing you in money, and then you're using the money for scholarships to send people to school. Or, there's another chapter, I'm sorry, I can't remember which one, but they're really heavy with Skills Canada. So they provide funds to send people to fund the hotels, to support that person the whole time. So all they have to worry about is doing good welds.
Yeah. Conestoga College does it. Kitchener chapter, we have some awards for the Skills Canada winners, because it's, they're young students, and yes, they get to travel and go to a national competition, but you know what? We want to help relieve that financial burden as well. We don't want them to have to worry about, how am I going to get there? How am I going to pay for this? We want you to focus on your career. We want to focus on the competition, the welding aspect of it. And it's really, fulfilling to be able to support them as a chapter. So for anyone that doesn't know, the NAC, we meet twice a year, and it's representative, normally the chapter chairs, but sometimes, they can't make it. So it's a representative from the chapter that comes, and we kind of sit in a big round table, and we talk about what's going on, because, as we've talked about, it's, you get into, you're in your own community. You don't know, sometimes you don't look at what's going on in the other provinces. Right. So we kind of all sit down together. We talk about what's working, what's not working with our chapter.
Really hash it out.
Because we have different communities, different needs, different support systems that we need. So we work together. Even though we are across Canada, our chapters are in their own communities, but as a whole, we work together from the national level. So, and so many great ideas, came up in the meeting on Tuesday, and I'm really excited for this year coming up, and to see what the chapters accomplish and support in their communities. So, it's a great thing. They meet twice a year, and so many great ideas. And sometimes things aren't working. And you know what? Yeah. We talk about it. And okay, how can we make this work? How can we move forward? So it's really great. Chapters are doing amazing. I think last year we had 66 events across Canada tallied between all the chapters, which was like our highest number. Yeah. And this year we're going to surpass that for sure.
Yeah,
so
everything's trending up, like membership and everything.
Yeah,
so
everything is trending up, and it's great, because that's what, we're here for. Right. And we want to get the word out. We want to be attending career fairs. We want to, be targeting the youth and really supporting the welding industry and building the next generation. So we're going to keep talking about this, but we're going to pause right now for a break for our sponsors and our advertisers. Without them as a not-for-profit, without our advertisers and our sponsors and industry to help support us, we can't do all the cool things that we get to do.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. And we'll be right back here on the CWB Association Welding Podcast. Max, did I do that right? Be right back.
The CWB Association is new and improved and focused on you. We offer a free membership with lots of benefits to anyone interested in joining an association that is passionate about welding. We are committed to educating, informing, and connecting our workforce. Gain access to your free digital publication of the Weld magazine, free online training, conferences, and lots of giveaways. Reach out to your local CWB Association chapter today to connect with other welding professionals and share welding as a trade in your community. Build your career, stay informed, and support the Canadian welding industry. Join today and learn more at cwbassociation.org.
Welcome back here on the CWB Association Welding Podcast. I'm here with Kevin Waugh. We're here at CanWeld Conference in Moncton, New Brunswick. And I've been watching the time here and I'm like, damn, we've been talking pretty long here. This is so good.
Depending on the editing, they're going to see the beginning of this. They're going to be like, what is it? Late night with Daniela? What are we doing here?
We recorded 3 hours to get 30 minutes. But it's great. We've had all week. We've had some really great conversations and talking about your role. We've talking about your role today, and out of the sessions that you've attended and our gala that we had last night, what's been your favorite part of the week so far?
I mean, it's not cheesy to say, but like the networking, the meeting of everyone, like. Every single person I talk to is interesting, and they're interested in what I have to say. Like from engineers, technologists, welders, suppliers, everyone is just super excited here. So like the vibe is really strong.
Yeah. No, there's been a lot of knowledge sharing and anyone that I've talked to, any of our attendees and even our sponsors, our sponsors have their exhibitor tables there for our attendees to walk around and to network, and they've got their products on their tables and they're sharing ideas and it's been really positive to hear from the sponsors of how many connections that they've made while they've been here at CanWeld, and demos already set up for in the in the area, and they've already made so many connections and that they need to follow up with. And so it's been really positive to hear that yes, you can attend these events, but if you just stand in the corner, you're not gonna get the full experience. We tell everybody, go network, go walk around the tables, go sit at a different table. There's breakfasts, there's lunches, we have our breaks, go sit at a different table. So it's been really positive, and I'm really glad of the responses that we've had so far about the experience. So we're gonna have a survey, we'll review, but and we're looking forward to now, it's the last day of the CanWeld Conference. Sessions are still going on right now. But it's like, okay, once one's done, now let's look at next year. And so next year, it's going to be tied again with the FabTech Canada in Toronto, which is going to be fun because then it's, even a bigger audience, which is exciting. But then, CanWeld, we like to move it across Canada. We want to move it around because there's so many different industries in every province. Yeah,
that's a big thing. Like from coast to coast to coast, it changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It absolutely changes. So when are you guys coming to Regina?
I was going to say, I was going to ask you.
We've got a really nice conference center. There's a hotel right there.
I'm surprised Max is, our host, as everyone knows from listening to our podcast episodes, Max is very proud of where he lives in Regina. And I'm surprised that he hasn't just made his own event being like, everyone come.
It shouldn't be like preferential treatment, right? He probably doesn't want to step on any toes.
Yeah, he wants it to be big.
We've got diverse industry, and there's a lot of like welding professionals there. So
I've never been. So tell us a little bit about what industries are in your neck of the woods. And
we've got mining, we've got custom fab, we've got grain industry. There's huge manufacturing. I don't want to mention any names. I don't want to pump any tires. I don't need to.
But for somebody that, you know what, maybe as a fellow Ontarian that I know that everyone, you know, growing up, I can totally admit that all you're told is it's really cold there. Don't move there. You don't want to, there's nothing out there. You could, if you lose your dog, you can see him, you know.
You run away for 2 days.
Yeah, you can see him run away. That's all. You can see him run away for 2 days. So.
You know, I thought the same thing moving there. I've been there for 23 years now, which is crazy to say, but the nicest people, so welcoming. It's not as flat as you think. There's a lot of beauty in Saskatchewan, especially in the skies, because you can see so much of it.
Wasn't there something about the lakes that you guys have?
We have the most lakes in all of Canada out of any province.
I didn't know that.
You just have to go north Saskatchewan. Yeah. Which even there's forestry. So
and there's mountains, I think. Wasn't there some mountains or hills?
There's some large hills that they call mountains.
I was trying to tell Max, I'm like, we got some mountains. We got Blue Mountain. We got some other mountains here in Ontario. Yeah. And he's like, we got the same hills too.
Yeah. I'm glad he said. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I guess, to us they're mountains, but you go more out west, there's some big mountains.
Yeah. So we also have a steel plant there. So we actually produce steel out of Regina and it goes all over Canada. There's tons, natural gas, there's oil, there's pretty much everything you could touch on welding. Like welding touches everything. Well, in Saskatchewan, it definitely does.
Definitely does. Yeah. And so like as ignorant Ontarian that I never knew that. Like without having these conversations, I would have never known that about that area. Yeah. So we'll see if CanWeld 2026 or no, so 2025.
Hopefully 2025.
2025, yeah. 2024 is in Toronto, and 2026, I'm sure, will be somewhere on the west coast. But so I'm guessing you're putting your vote in for.
Oh yeah, that's going to be like every answer on the survey. Regina.
Where, CanWeld Conference is going to come across Canada, and at some point in some year, it will be in your neck of the woods. So, make sure you keep in touch with our events that we do every year. And if the opportunity persists to attend, please make sure you do. And coming from work from your neck of the woods and coming here because you're here for the whole week, how is that going? How was that transition of are you been checking your phone? Is work blowing up your phone being like, we need help? Or because
yes.
Tell everyone your role at work, because so that they know the position you're in.
I am the foreman of a custom fab shop. We do repair, we do structural, we do pipe, so we're very diversified. I see 15 to 20 guys. I oversee 15 to 20 guys, given if we're busy or not. So it's very different from welding.
Right.
It's very different. It's gauging people's skill sets, given, attitudes, finding where people fit best on projects, and then also dealing with their personal relationships with each other. And then you've got the office. So you got to deal with the office. It's kind of like I'm in a sandwich. I'm right in the middle. So I'm the filter of the shop, I guess. But being foreman, I don't weld as much as I like to. And I love to weld. It's my passion.
But you got more responsibilities.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time. If something goes wrong and it went through me. I'm also quality control at my shop. So I have to sign off on everything. So it gets stressful. Also safety. I'm in charge of the safety. I wish somebody would take some of these responsibilities off of me.
I guess you're just so good at it.
I mean, I'm very passionate and I love what I do. But also being foreman takes me away from these special projects. So I've got a little system set up where I work a few evening shifts on custom stuff. And I'm more of an artistic guy, and I love the finicky things. I, build handrails, custom stairs. I've been doing some sanitary piping, which I've never done before, and really enjoy it. And just before I left here, I'm welding together some stainless steel countertops.
I saw that.
Huge challenge. It takes so much to do.
Saw your little welding cart.
Yeah.
This is all you need.
It's quite a bit, but that was a thing, goes back to the community. I reached out to a bunch of people and then got some settings, got some ideas. It was great. And even when I come back, I got to jump into that job. And somebody from Saskatoon reached out to me and it's like, I do this for a living. I would love to give you some input. I would love some input. I do it okay. I would love to do it better, right?
Yeah.
So
how can you grow?
yeah, so it's kind of cool. I lost welding during the day, but now I get to do special things. So there's always an avenue. Welding goes everywhere, right?
I honestly don't know how you do it all in a week. Like you're a family man, you know, a beautiful family that you've got there, and your wife is awesome. Had the pleasure.
She's definitely awesome.
Had the pleasure of meeting her, and you know, it's just all these things that you do and the hours that you work. It's impressive, but you also got to make sure, you know, you take care of yourself.
It's give and take, and like, okay, so I'll go like a month straight working 60-hour weeks and stuff, and there's a reason I do it, right? I like to provide.
Absolutely.
There has to be a balance, but all of a sudden, like, body shuts down. Why am I sick? I got a giant headache. Like, I didn't do anything.
Worst time ever.
Yeah, and it's like, it's Wednesday. I should be at work right now. I don't have any sick days. But I'm definitely starting to find that balance. I think I've mentioned balance on every podcast that I've been on, and I haven't found it. We're close,
Maybe
people.
Next year.
We're close. Yeah, we're very close.
We're going to do a podcast every year. We see if that balance got better.
You know, especially my kids now, they're in Taekwondo. They're doing like a young engineers course. One guy's in a Lego course. So that takes time. And like, okay, I'm working Tuesday and Thursday nights pretty consistently. Well, Taekwondo's on Tuesday and Thursday nights.
Yeah.
So I've been telling work, like, sorry, I can't. Right.
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
So how was it for you to come here? Now you have to take a whole week off work.
Yeah.
You know, you're away from your family, you're away from the shop. As the foreman, how was that transition to come here?
It's hard to leave. I mean, just a small personal story. Unfortunately, my son was sick. He had appendicitis. So I had to take a week off, and we had to stay in the hospital with him. He wasn't old enough, right? So my wife and I traded back and forth. And so I used up my vacation pay. So I'm here unpaid. So that was hard but I think it's worth it. And especially, I hope
we made it worth it.
I know it's worth it. But it's hard to leave because we've got so many projects on the go, and some of the guys need a lot of guidance.
Yeah.
And we have a few that go on the road. So when those more experienced guys go on the road, there's nobody in the shop to guide the younger, less experienced ones. So that's always on my mind. And you were saying, actually, I've received a text from work every day that I've been here, but it's okay. Like, it's
that's part of the role.
More than fine. That's right. And like, I'm not going to be like, well, you know, screw them. No, I'm passionate about my work. I'm passionate about my workplace. They support me. I support them. So yeah, just took a quick little text, whatever. And one guy blew up the TIG torch. So what's the part numbers? Can I fix it? So, okay, what line did you break? Oh, you can fix that one. You can't fix this one. And then I get a text, you know, like, oh, well, we need to order another one. Okay, hold on. Went on Canada Welding Supply. Boop, boop, boop. Found it right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, shout out.
Shout out. One of our podcast advertisers.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
And it was that easy for me to do it. So I didn't mind doing it. But TIG torch blows up. 2 days later, there's a new one.
Well, this is where we all also go back to the passion. Like, you don't turn it off. Doesn't matter. Somebody reaches out to you, asking you a question about anything. Like, we're always on. We always, because we want to. We're there to help support, and it doesn't matter if it's in your job or on social media or whatever it is. It's that passion. It's 24/7. Like, I could talk to anybody off the street about welding. Like, I get giddy about it. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
But how? And I hear about this, you know, so many times, you know, over the years. It's like people that it's like, oh, I wish I could attend because, you know, but I'm too busy working, or I'm not allowed to take time off to go to these conferences and these networking events and during work hours. And do you have any suggestions that, you know, as an employer, you know, a system or something that should be maybe mandatory yearly for companies so that their employees can advance and also, you know, their careers, and also to take this knowledge that they would learn at these events back to their shop, back to their companies, and be like, hey, look, we're doing something A, B, and C this way, but I learned it's more efficient to do A, B, and C, or this direction, and we're doing it wrong, or this is something we can improve on. But sometimes even like the younger generation, they don't get those opportunities from work because whether they're new at a company or they're just newer in their years of the career that they're in. And but what's some suggestions that maybe you could offer from a personal note of to the employers of what they should offer their employees?
An opportunity. Like I didn't know how
mandatory
cool,
one.
Yeah, I didn't know how cool it would be to come out here and what I would learn and the people I would meet, and like it really lights a fire under you. But I think it's mandatory. Like at least one person, or have a plan to send somebody, anybody, to get that information, to network, because you never know what could come from that. Yeah. And you leave here way smarter than you came. So I think employers need to look at putting a budget aside. And there are some small companies, there are some huge companies. Not everybody has the budget, right? But maybe like throttle back on the pizza parties and put that money towards sending somebody to a conference or to a course. Get some training. Absolutely. We can't always be doing the same thing with the same equipment, because eventually you're going to get phased out. Yeah. Yeah. So, and sometimes, as you were saying, the issues that have been happening at the shop while you're here, it's like, well, you know what? You weren't there, but Tig Torch blew up, whatever it is. They learned, with your guidance, even though like you weren't in the shop physically, they now learned with your guidance of how to fix that. So if it does happen again, now you like, hey, I've already taught you how to do this now. Now you can. Even speaking with people here, like I've learned about different managing styles and what I could do better. And like you open up about yourself and people give you feedback. Yeah. So like maybe I do need to trust people more to do it themselves, right? I mean, some people, it's going to go sideways, but like, I used to be that guy. I'd fix every piece of equipment in the shop. I know where everything is in the shop. Yeah. Well, what happens when I'm gone? So I need to pass on that knowledge, those little things, and that frees me up. I'll maybe deal with less stress. I feel like I have control issues. I will admit that. I am like easy. OCD, where it's like, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done properly. Like, and sometimes it's hard. And I'm thankful for, I just stepped down as a chapter chair of the Kitchener area, and shout out to Jackie Morris. She's our new chair, and she's going to do amazing. And I'm super excited to where she's going to lead the chapter. But, I took on the chapter chair role. I did it for 2 years, and that was it's a volunteer position as a member of the CWB Association, but it was a learning curve of, delegating to the other executive board. And did I do it well? Probably not, but it's still, it was another challenge for me growing as a, professionally, of learning to delegate the tasks that we needed to do to thrive as a chapter as a whole. You're not just one person in the community. We're all here to help support and to guide everybody. But it's sometimes moments like those where you're here physically and you're like, I physically can't be in the shop helping those people. Yeah. But it's good, those instances, that they can learn on their own and to grow as an individual, because sometimes, we get stuck in our own ways and we're like, I'm just going to go do this. I got to run here. I'm going to go do this. And it's like, okay, actually you could do it. Like, I know you could, and if you can't, well, hey, what training do you need to learn to do that? Right. One. And like, sometimes you get so busy, you don't have the chance to train somebody. So sometimes you do have to send people away and go do that, or empower somebody to do it. Cause it's, days are crazy. Yeah. Right? I could come back to, it went very well and people are doing great and people have grown, like we just talked. Or the building's on fire. Fingers crossed for you. The building was not on fire. We're going to see it on the news later today. Yeah. Sorry, JR's Welding in Regina, Saskatchewan. We do everything. Come check us out. We're not on fire. Your work is so amazing. It's on fire. Maybe I should do it. Wait, I should have did a bada boom. Oh, nice. Do you have the pew, 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 pew? I don't know which one it is. Oh, no, that was some jazz music going on. I'm just going to be pressing all these buttons, Max. But and this was also a thing for me, too. It's like
Max, I'm now going to take over the podcast today.
I don't know
And
if you
he's
need
like,
any more on your plate though, right?
I don't. I really don't. But this is fun. This was a cool challenge for me too. My first one, Max had me on the podcast before actually I even worked for him, which is funny that we look back in those moments earlier on in the early podcasts. And then I was on the 100th episode, and that was my first time really behind the microphone with Max. And it's nerve-wracking when your boss is like watching over you when you're doing something new.
Yeah.
But this, and that 100th episode, I had a full script written out. Like I typed it on Word document, and I was like trying not to freeze up, and I must have said, like 100 times. But even from that moment, on a personal note, I'm gonna do him a little. With this as my second time doing this, like I feel more comfortable now. It still was nerve-wracking.
The more you do something, the better you get, the more comfortable you are at it, right? So
absolutely. And
I always say there's nothing to worry about until there's something to worry about. If you keep telling yourself that, well, there's really nothing to worry about.
Yeah. And I say this all the time to anyone I talk to. And my favorite all-time saying, I need to get tattooed on me. It's feel the fear and do it anyway. Yeah. It's anything is nerve-wracking. You try something new skill, new trade, new career, whatever it may be in any age aspect of your career. It's always nerve-wracking, but you just gotta, 2 feet and just jump, right?
Yeah, if you never push past that fear, you never grow. And then as soon as you do that thing, like I just did that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just a way better person afterwards.
Yeah. So I'm really happy. I'm really glad that your first CanWeld experience has been a success. And we're going to sit in some more sessions this afternoon after this podcast where my tummy's grumbling. I'm getting hungry for lunch. It's almost
lunchtime.
I think we might have almost missed lunch, but this was worth it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like we'll see after my stuff that I've filmed gets edited. Maybe they're going to be like, ooh, maybe you should have been out there.
If you don't see Kevin at the next event,
you know why.
You'll know why. He did not pass the 30-day trial.
Yeah. Maybe I need training. I might need a little training.
Max, we need to order some training for Kevin. No, it's been great. And I'm so glad you were able to come out. And even me, like I'm excited. I've never been to Moncton before. It's really cool, these conferences. Yeah, to be able to experience these other provinces across Canada. So I'm really excited, and I've never been to Regina before. So, I might have to put a vote for.
You should. I mean, Max, he'll make it worth it.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thanks for having me again. I'm glad
we were our support systems here.
Yeah.
And, shout out to our listeners and our followers and our volunteers, our members. I am a member as well personally. And, even before I started working for the CWB Association. So, shout out to you guys because you really, you make us awesome and you do so much cool stuff in your communities. And we wouldn't be here without you. So,
very true.
Yeah. Thank you so much to our sponsors and to our advertisers, also here on the podcast and in all the conferences and events that we do throughout the year. Make sure you keep downloading, sharing, commenting, liking our podcasts. I really try my best. It's a pleasure of mine that I get to be the one, behind the computer, finding these guests and reaching out to them. And it's a cool part of my job personally, as a podcast manager. It's a title I gave myself.
It's a good title. Now you're also a host, so that's two things. Yeah.
We might have to do a vote to kick back. Sorry, Max, I'm taking over, but it's easier because I know you, right? So it's you know what, Max has an amazing skill that I've been fortunate to experience it of, all the conferences that we've gone to and he could talk to anybody.
He's got the gift of gab.
He has a gift. Yeah. And sometimes I have to be like, okay, listen, Max, like we have a schedule.
we gotta
go. Like you just gotta stop talking. But he, and that's the passion. When we come back to it, it's the passion. He's so passionate about the industry and throughout his career and all the work that he's done because he's from industry and he really resonates with everybody. Yeah. And that's, you can feel the passion when you talk with him. So he does a great job of it. Nobody could take his role.
But he doesn't finish his podcast with, please listen to the podcast. That'll be your thing.
Late night session with Daniela.
Yeah.
Listen. It's my slogan.
Oh my God.
Well, thank you so much again. Comment, download, and share. And next year, it's in June 11th, I believe,
correct.
FabTech Canada. And our CanWeld Conference will be in Toronto, Ontario. Make sure if you have the opportunity to come out to it, put in your calendar right now so you
Start
can
bugging
prepare.
your employer.
Yeah, start bugging you. If you don't ask, you won't get it. So
The squeaky wheel gets the grease,
yeah,
right?
that's the saying. So we will see you at the next episode and hopefully meet you in person at the next CanWeld Conference.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Take care and enjoy the show. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed the show.